the silhouette is maintained through contrast, right? Like, you can tell that the like form sticks out because, like, you know, it's a different color from the background, and that saves you a lot of space, which is crucial in pixel art. Pixel art is all about managing space and color and a lot of things conservatively, um, and that's just like, you know, one thing that you can't really do with line art. So that's something important to keep in mind. Um, so my approach to building with a silhouette, oops, sorry, I meant to move the palette over. My approach to building with a silhouette is you're working from general information to specific. Um, so what that means is that all of these like shapes are very like, you know, like vaguely like defined. I haven't put in any details in like I have with like the line art. And there's like a lot that I might change and move around with this form. And because I'm working from general to specific, it makes sense that like my that I start with like my midtones, right? The two intermediate colors in my 4-color palette, because things like darker colors and light colors are reserved for your shadows and your highlights, and those are usually more specific details that you save for the end. Um, Whereas with like, you know, a line art, I start with my darkest color and like one of my midtones, and I just kind of like work in like the shadows that way. Okay, so okay, I'm actually gonna start like um, building with this now, and we'll see how it goes. Oh yeah, feel free to like ask any questions while I'm like working on a thing, working on this. If I'm making like any decisions that it's like, what, why'd you do that? Like, don't be afraid to ask. I know it kind of doesn't make too much sense out of like context, so. This is a personal thing as well. I just like starting with the eyes, but you know, sometimes that's not a good idea. Let's just say for the stream, it's a great idea, but don't, sometimes don't do it. Oh, hey, thanks for, oh, hey, I'm sorry I didn't notice you before. Thanks so much for taking the time to stop by. So, working from general to specific, I'm just going to be really roughly, like, adding in, like, shadows and things like that. Oh, you guys might have noticed that I used, like, this gray, as, like, a background, even though I said I was going to be sticking with, like, 4 colors. I just want to assure you that, like, yeah, I'm still sticking with the 4-color rule. I just threw in the gray just so it's easier to see the figure that I'm working with. And with building up a silhouette, just by adding shapes and shapes and shapes, don't be afraid to kind of, like, disturb, like, a lot of the groundwork that you've laid. Like, you can always go over it, and, you know, like, none of these, like, choices are, like, especially, like, you know, permanent. Like, it's gonna be okay. Oh, also side note, if anyone wants to add or upload any pixel art that they would like to see me like edit or like mess around with like on stream at the end, feel free to upload that. I, I feel bad that I keep pasting links to like the Google Drive folder because I'm sure you guys know it exists by now, but just in case. And then you can see that I kind of like go in and start adding in some like lines to define it a bit better. But again, just still mostly relying on just shaping things out in order to build the figure. It's not as like explicit as me like, you know, relying on like the action, like a line art piece. Oh, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, you're so on top of this. Thank you. Um, I really appreciate it. Hmm. Okay. Um. Okay. Sorry, I was just clicking through some things. Whoops. Again, just going in, working on the hair. Sorry that this part like is kind of like silent. Oh, I should be talking more about what I'm doing during the stream, but sometimes I get kind of like caught up in actually like making the art that it's hard for me to multitask. Another like fun fact for people that haven't streamed with me before, I'm terrible at multitasking. So if I miss a comment or something, I'm so sorry. Just apologies in advance. Um, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, no, you're right. I should go back and yeah, no, thank you. Thank you so much for like taking the time to like let me know like, hey, this would be like a way better way of like doing a thing. Um, okay. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Okay. Back to work. Um, Again, just building up with like simple shapes and kind of refining it as I go along, but not like too super worried about it like looking great. I know there's like the great thing about like I think with working from like a silhouette like this is that there's not as much pressure like with line art, right? Like the way I work with line art, like this is pretty much like what I start off with and what I end with. So it's really important that I make sure that the line art is as like polished and as close to what I want for the finished piece as possible. With like silhouette building, like I don't have to worry about it like looking like perfect just because it's just so easy to like go back in and kind of like fix things. So again, that's just another pros and cons. If anyone's making a pros and cons list, oh, I doubt anyone is. Let's see. But do you guys like see what I mean by general to like specific? I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to like finish both of these pieces on stream, so I'm just gonna do like a very whoops, like a very fast like um overall like um thing, and then I'll like really clean up one area. So I'm just gonna work over the rest of the body, and then I'll like probably move on to like, I don't know, the face, and then end it there, if that's okay. Those are pros and cons. Right. Yeah, no, totally. I agree with that. It depends on the piece that you're working with, and it depends on your style too, right? Like there is no like right or wrong way to like do a thing. It's totally always up to the artist. Um yeah, things get it's one of those like unsatisfying like things to say, right? Like, oh, it gets easier the more experience you have, and it sounds a little cheap, but it's definitely like true. Like once you know like the like limitations of like the medium and like how easy it is to recover from like certain mistakes, you know, you can take more risks, and you aren't as like precious about like wanting to preserve certain things, right? Like I know there are some artists that get stuck on a piece just because there's just one part of like the work that they really like, right? And it's in order to like fix a mistake that they know they have to fix, like it requires like completely undoing and erasing the part that they like, right? um which sucks. Like I'm positive like all like everyone's had that experience. Like that's I do that all of the time. But once you kind of like have faith in your abilities, and you know, you get better at replicating like oh, this is how I made the like first thing that turned out really well. You know, art becomes incidents like that become less and less more like a chance based thing, and they become actual technique. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing I just want to like point out is that with some of these like limited color palettes, some of the jumps between tones might not be like great for what you're working on. So totally feel free to like tweak any colors uh, as needed. I know that I would like a more subtle dark color than this, but I'm just gonna work with it because I